Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Friday the 22nd of May. Well, I thought I'd do a Friday video. I'm off, I'm having a bet, and I like the look of these. There's some interesting, maybe draw biases due to the ground. I also think there is a notable draw bias for Saturday as well at York. And there is one horse I've already picked out that I think is going to be favoured massively by the draw bias, because an awful lot of the fancied horses in the first race at York may well be drawn in a certain position, and I don't think that's favourable. But let's get on to Friday's selections. So I've had a 13 pence each way, lucky 31, and £1 each way on all of them. The reason why I've had 13 pence each way, because that's the maximum Sky Bet are allowing this bet to be. So let me get into it. So I mentioned the draw bias. So the first draw bias, the selection is Magic Basma in the 255 at Haydock. So it's soft, heavy in places. I believe the far side is the slower side. I do believe they will come near side, so I believe you need to be drawn high. That's only my take on things. I've used a bit of grok just to do a bit of research for me on how the on how the ground dries out. Because clearly we're heading towards a spell of better weather. The ground is going to dry very quickly, but it's still going to be no faster than I'd have thought. Probably soft. Maybe you might get a good soft in places. But I believe that the draw bias at Haydock over the straight course will be high numbers. I also believe you could be favoured by having a prominent position on the round course at Haydock. I think it'll be quite difficult to come from behind. So, like I said, the first selection is Magic Basma. And as I do it, my bin's being emptied outside, so sorry for the noise. So this horse, it ran its best race at Doncaster. Well, sorry, it ran one of its best races at Doncaster last year on heavy ground. Then it ran on its reappearance at Newmarket on good to firm ground behind the favourite. Well, I don't think that good to firm ground suited this horse one bit. And to be fair, Kevin Ryan's horses have been in the doldrums for a long time now, but I just think they seem to be running that a little bit better. So I didn't expect it to run well on its reappearance, but it did. And I think it will come on for the run. And I do believe it's drawn 12 of, I think it's 17. So it will race prominently. So I fully expect it to probably be in the first 4 or 5 throughout. It did attempt to go to the front at Doncaster, but it just looked a little bit green at the back end of last year. Hopefully it's strengthened up a bit and it puts its best foot forward, or best hoof forward. They are paying first 4 as well. 9 to 1's a bit stingy, but it wouldn't let me put the bet on without taking the prices. So I am going to get mullered with the prices, because some of them are quite poor, but Sky Bet would not let me put the bet on without taking the prices. In the 255 at Haydock, I've gone for Cubella at 7 to 2. It was 9 to 2. Paying first 4. So this horse it's having its first run for Owen Burrows. I'm a massive Owen Burrows fan. I think he only seems to train very good horses, and if he has a poor horse or inherits a poor horse, he seems to do better than the previous trainer. Jamie Spencer's on board, which I think actually Jamie Spencer is actually riding quite well at the moment. He's having a few winners recently, and hopefully this horse runs well. Sorry, I got the time on that race wrong. It's a 3:42 at Goodwood, sorry. So it's good to soft at Cubella. What am I talking about? It's good to soft at Goodwood. And this horse does like slower ground. And I do believe all we're doing, in my opinion, is relying on its fitness. Hopefully it's fit when it turns out. There has been money for it, and I think it should run a decent race. The next selection is a very interesting one, and it's 28 to 1. It's the most interesting horse. Everything's happening at the moment. I'm sorry, I've just had to close the door because of the washing machine. Give me the night at 28 to 1 in the 4:05 at Haydock, and they are paying first 4. This horse is definitely one of the more interesting ones. So I started at the top of the betting. And there were so many where there were doubtful stayers, doubtful on the ground. And I got towards the bottom and it was 28-1. I'm thinking, well, right, this horse is bred to appreciate this trip and further. Its family also appreciate the ground. This horse has been campaigned pretty much a mile and 7 furlongs, and it's been stepped up for this race. I think it's been crying out for a step up in trip for quite a while now. I hope it runs no worse than mid-division in running, because I do think horses up with the pace or no worse than mid-division should have a slight edge. So it's trained by Mark Rimmel. I believe it's owned by Mark Rimmel as well. I think it's crying out for this step up in trip. I did look at some of the family, and also a lot of them were campaigned over seven furlongs in a mile. Some of them did better than this horse. Some of them did worse than this horse. But pretty much all of them benefited and had a higher Racing Post rating as they got older when they were stepped up in trip. I really think 28-1 is too big a price when they're paying first foot and there's an awful lot of doubtful stayers and it's soft with heavy places with a horse that is bred to want it, although we are in like unknown territory. But I think 28-1, I'm prepared to take that risk. The next selection is Oathbound in the 440 at Haydock, and I've forgotten about this one. So take a look for yourself. I'll get on to the next one. So the next selection is Kiss Cody at 5-1 in the 452 at Goodwood. So it's drawn low, but it does like to come from behind. I believe, I can remember now. So Oathbound, trained by William Haggis. I believe its last run was a day out. It's now got its handicap mark, and because it ran so poorly at Wetherby after being slowly away at Wetherby, and I do also believe at Wetherby, if you are slowly away, it can be quite a tight turning track at times where if you get behind, it's very difficult to get competitive, and that's what that horse did. And to be fair, it was an okay grade that day as well. For how the horse had been running, it was a decent price at the time. I'm not sure, but I think it might have been like 14s or 16s in the race. So it wasn't fancied, and I think it was just a bit of an education. Now it's got its handicap mark. It's 6-1, one of the shortest prices it's been, and I think you might see. Well, you'll probably see some improvement. Sorry, back to Kiss Cody in the 452 at Goodwood. This horse was slowly away, I believe, at Southwell. Another one that had a day out. It did get competitive and it came placed. However, I think it was given an awful lot to do that day. And I think this was probably more of the target. It's got Kieran Fallon on board today and it's drawn low. And if he can get a rail position, no worse than mid-division, I think it's got the perfect draw. It does normally favour low numbers on the Goodwood 7 furlongs, as long as you get a sensible position, because if you're drawn low and you're held up, you could be 17 of 17 going around the first bend. So that's where a low draw would not be beneficial, and that could skew the draw bias. But this is drawn low, but it needs to take advantage of it by sitting no worse than, well, there's 14 in the race. It needs to be, in my opinion, no worse than 7th or 8th. Otherwise, you're blocked in on the rail and you're sat nearly last. So those are the selections. So let me just, there were 2 horses that it wouldn't let me add to this bet. So this is why it's been condensed down to a lucky 31. Let me just show you, because I will also be backing these 2 horses. And they are both at Pontefract. One is it's ran there multiple times and ran there very well on several occasions. Right. Right, is there 9-2 Ventura Express 722 at Pontefract. It's drawn 10. I don't think that's too much of a problem. It did say the draw wasn't ideal, but at Pontefract. This horse has been up with the pace and also held up last. Not quite sure how they're going to race. This horse has won this race in the past in 2024. Also, it's ran well in much more valuable races at this course. It was very unlucky at this course, and I believe it was a £22,000 race. This isn't an expensive race. I think this is a valuable race. I think it's only about 5,000 or 6,000 maximum, but I do believe it could well run very well in this race. It's got to, really, because it's only 9-2. It's not like I'm tipping your horse at 25s. The next interesting horse. This is really interesting, and I will be backing both of these, but I just need to. I think it's in the first race. Right, the horse is called Stoneacre Joe. It ran yesterday. I do like it when horses run 4 days or shorter, because I remember back to when I used to run quite competitively, and sometimes I had 2 races. Well, sometimes it was a race on the Wednesday and then a race on the Thursday. I'd race on the Wednesday, have a hard race, and I think I don't want this on the Thursday. But I tell you what, once I got into a rhythm on the Thursday, it felt like you were absolutely flying. You know how footballers say match fit? Well, that's how I felt on the Thursday. You felt really tired going into Thursday, thinking like, I don't fancy this. Asleep in the car on the way there. Not really up for it. Everybody else is jig-jogging and you're thinking, I don't fancy this. But once you get in your rhythm, I felt like I couldn't stop. And then once you'd finished, you felt like ready for going for another lap. I believe that's how horses are. Obviously, they run on a regular basis, but I just think they strip so much fitter and blow the cobwebs away. Yeah, you can overdo it, but I just don't think that running yesterday is going to have any toll on it. And I do think, what I think is, I think it was drawn on the wrong side yesterday at Haydock. It was actually drawn low and came down the middle. I believe they thought it had no race yesterday, never had a chance. This Naval Light, although it's Colberg and Jack Nicholls claiming 5, yeah, decent combination, it doesn't seem to finish its races off very well. And if you put a line through Stoneacre Joe, it's been running in the 70s as its racing post rating. So is Naval Light, but Naval Light is odds on 47 and Stoneacre Joe is 4s. I think this horse, Stoneacre Joe, has got a cracking chance. Don't get me wrong, there is a chance they might pull it out because it ran yesterday. They're probably seeing how it is. They're probably still evaluating it now, but don't forget, it's not till 6:20 tonight, so there's still plenty of time. But yeah, I think it's got a decent. Should it run? I think it's got a decent chance. It's one of the horses. It's a kind of profile where, because it ran yesterday, it's probably going to finish either first or second or last. So I'll take the chance. 4-1's an okay price because personally, he's possibly only got one to beat. So those are the selections. Don't forget, like and subscribe because I will be letting you know all about the York draw bias for Saturday. So it looks like a decent card Saturday. So I'm sure there's plenty of bets knocking around, and I don't think there's a great deal of football apart from the playoffs. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.